Hi, I'm John, and today I'm making, you guessed it, a delicious chicken parmigiana. And I'm very excited. So I just want to start here with my beautiful 4 chicken breasts in front of me. And they're all very, very big and very thick. Now, I just want to thin them out a bit to the same size. And I wanted to season them with some salt before I start getting onto my sauce. My chicken breasts to the side and have one on this flat surface here. I can cut them and do this and that, but this is just easy. Cover them with some Glad wrap. And I'm just gonna grab a pot and smack them just until they're about the same size. Now, one of the major benefits of doing this is that it's all equal thickness, which means it'll cook evenly. All right, so that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna take this off, clean side down. And then I'm gonna repeat this with the rest of my chicken breasts. So here we've got now 4 very flat chicken breasts. They're not looking the nicest, but we're gonna crumb them up, so that's perfectly fine. Now, to continue the tenderization process, I am going to give a very generous salt to each side of these chicken breasts. Now, this will help to give flavor and will also really help to tenderize these even further. Don't worry, I will wipe off the excess salt when I come to actually crumb these. But this is a really good trick, and all these little steps may seem, not necessary, but trust me, these little steps are really what make food that little bit nicer and things turn out just that bit better. All right, here we go. Now I am just going to move these carefully off to the side and give my hands a good wash before we move on to that delicious tomato sauce. Now the hero of this dish, of course, is the beautiful tomato sauce. So we're just going to keep it really nice and simple. I've just got a jar of passata here, which is going to be the main aspect of our sauce, but I'm just going to use a little bit of onion and some finely chopped garlic. Now this is an echalot, and it is a really good secret, I'll say, or tip to use in these kind of instances where you want a really nice kind of sweet, delicate onion flavor, but you don't want it to overpower your sauce. So if you can't find these, they're common in the supermarket, but if you can't find any, I would suggest just using maybe even just a quarter of an onion and chopping it nice and finely. There's an art to cutting an onion properly, which I'm already failing at, just to get really nice fine dice. Now the garlic, I'm just gonna chop this up nice and finely as well. You could use a garlic crusher, garlic mincer right here, which I often would do, but it's another dish to clean up. I'm also starting the sauce now so that it can simmer for about, I'd say it'll simmer for about 30 to 40 minutes while we crumb and cook that chicken. So we just want to saute this in a healthy amount of olive oil, as the olive oil is going to be the real flavor carrier in this sauce. We just want to make sure that these get nice and soft. We don't want to make them too brown or burnt at all. We just want to soften them with a little bit of pepper and salt. All right, now this is looking really, really good. We've got a nice kind of soft onion and the garlic. I've also added just half a teaspoon of some chili flakes and just half a teaspoon of some Italian seasoning. Now it is time to just drop in our passata. Now the passata is just blended tomatoes with the seeds and skins removed. Now I'll bring that heat back up again and just mix all of this goodness in. And to not forget either, I also have a bit of nice basil, probably a quarter of a cup of basil, just chopped, which will really impart such a delicious sweet flavor into this sauce. And just to help break that tomato down, I'm just gonna add about a half a glass of wine. Now, while our beautiful sauce starts to simmer away behind us on just a low heat, let's get on with our breading station. So, first things first, I just wanna pat some of that salt off, and you'll be able to see that there's a lot of kind of liquid that's come out of the chicken and water basically, which is just from the salt. The salt's drawn out that excess moisture. And as I mentioned, it's gonna make it nice and flavorful and tenderize it. Now here's another aspect of frying that I think a lot of people really forget about. So I'm gonna deep fry these tonight. You can shallow fry it, air fry them, do whatever you like, but I believe you really need to flavor each step. So I'm gonna go in first with some pepper and salt. So pepper and salt to me, at least salt, is mandatory. There's some salt in the panko breadcrumbs, and the panko breadcrumbs are just gonna give a really nice crisp and crunch to that chicken. I've got 3 eggs, gonna put some salt in there, and I've just got about 3/4 of a cup of this plain flour. That's gonna act as kind of what's gonna start sticking and forming that coat. Now I've got some rosemary leaves, onion powder, garlic powder, thyme, and oregano leaves all dried here. You can really add anything you like. I really suggest garlic and onion. They give a lot of flavor, and herbs. So you can use fresh herbs here, but just make sure you chop them up finely, because you don't want big bits of kind of leaves which can then stick out and burn. So I'm also gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon, I'd say, of each of these spices into the breadcrumbs and the flour. But you just got to think, you're eating through each of the layers. So you want to, make sure that each one of those layers is sufficiently flavored. In my opinion, the most important behind the breadcrumbs is some Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan really helps with imparting a great amount of flavor and kind of lightness to the coating. It's important just to do a nice, I'd say about 1/4 cup of some freshly grated Parmesan. I like to use the strong, this is the extra strong one, just for more flavor. Now I just want to make sure that we give each of these a nice mix so that everything is nicely incorporated. Let's start with this piece of chicken over here. Now usually when I am coating, I like to have a wet hand and a dry hand. So I want to really focus on getting each coat well onto the chicken. It's just big and there's lots of crevices. It's gonna have to push it in. There we go, to shake off that extra little bit, and then into the egg. Just let that excess drip off, and then into our breadcrumbs. Now this is where using 2 hands can be helpful, otherwise you're gonna have a lot of stuff stuck to your fingers, which will happen anyway, but it's just good to try and minimize that at this early stage. And yeah, just giving it a bit of a push down also really helps just to get this coating to stick. You can dip it back in the egg. I don't want that thick of a coat. If these pieces are too big and you find it unmanageable, just feel free to cut these in half or into smaller pieces. That's perfectly fine too. And then we'll transfer it onto our plate. And look, here is our beautiful chicken, all crumbed, all the mess cleaned up. Now my deep fry is downstairs, so let's head downstairs and fry this. So I'm cooking my chicken in some hot oil at about 180 degrees Celsius. Now I'm just dropping in really slowly because it is such a big piece and it really does just fit. Now I only want to cook this for about 4 minutes and I want to get a nice deep golden color. And the thing to note is as soon as it comes out, you've got to salt both sides quite generously. All right, here we go. Here is our beautiful fried chicken. It is looking amazing. I cut a bit off and tasted it, of course, and it tastes incredible. Now, I'm gonna save this because I'm actually making this for lunch tomorrow, and then I'm gonna have this for tonight. I've got my sauce here, and I'm gonna scoop some over. Now, I know some people like to scoop their sauce under on the plate or when they kind of grill it. I like a bit of both. I want some crunch, so I'm just gonna go for a bit of sauce in the middle. I can always put a bit more sauce on at the end. Now for my cheese, I have a 4-cheese melt mix. So this has Parmesan, everything in it. I'm gonna sprinkle some of this over. I'm still gonna go along. I'm gonna put a little bit of freshly grated Parmesan over the top because look, this is yummy. This is fine. You can use mozzarella and just grated Parmesan, but this tastes nice and it's easy. Here we go with the grating again. So I've set my oven to about 200 degrees Celsius, and this is just gonna go in very high up on the shelf. You can broil it if you like. I'm just gonna put it in the oven and let it do its thing. This should take about 10 minutes and then we're ready to serve up. And here we go. So this has been in the oven for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna sprinkle it with some delicious basil. The dried stuff does not compete at all. Fresh basil has the most delicious, sweetest flavor. So let's give it a bit of a sprinkle. I did decide to come along and throw a bit of tomato sauce just underneath as well, just to give it a bit of extra tomatoiness. Now in Australia, you usually actually see parmies or parmas, depending where you're from, served with chips or fries and just a bit of a salad. But tonight, this is all I'm going for. You could have some veggies, whatever, but yeah. Thank you for watching my delicious chicken parmigiana video, and I hope you guys like it. Give it a like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you guys next time.